Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny. For the next 2 hours I'm going to be sat here keeping you company while you paint your miniatures, while I paint my miniatures. Because let's be honest, we've all got a mountain of grey to get some colour on. Big piles of opportunity or piles of shame, whichever it is, which way around you want to call it. We're here hopefully today to get some entertainment, to have some company, motivation, maybe some inspiration along the way to get everything painted. If you're new here, Easy 8 isn't a tutorial show or anything like that. I'm not that good. I'm just a humble, everyday painter. But hopefully, if you like what we do, we're not just here on YouTube. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. And if you don't mind, give the show a subscription. Struggling to get my words out. Do you know? I'm very tired today. I was up very, very late last night with Shiv from Table of Horrors because I was helping him with a roleplay game. And I got to bed at 3:45 this morning, and I forgot until last minute that I had to take my car into the garage this morning at 8:30. So I'm a little bit tired, I'm a little bit stammery, I'm a little bit quiet, a little bit sluggish, but at least I'm on time today. But if you like what we do, if you like this show, and you like everyone getting together and talking the same stuff, please hit the subscribe button because it really helps the community grow. Can you believe that in the last 7 days we have had over 15 subscriptions? That is mental. So if you're new, if you're one of those new people that are coming along and watching, welcome. I genuinely hope that you find something valuable here. I hope that you find some entertainment, just maybe some company, because that's what it's all about. It's a live stream. It's raw, it's rough, it's ready, it's unscripted. It's just bringing people together, sharing in the love, the passion for the humble little hobby that we all do, which is small worlds. I love small painting things. I love it all. Maybe you're not painting, maybe you're building, maybe you're drawing. Doesn't matter really, as long as you're coming along for a bit of a live chat. You could be doing any kind of hobby thing. You might just be chilling out with a glass of wine, and that is fine because it is the weekend. So happy Friday, everybody. So hit the subscription button, hit the subscribe button. That's what it's called, not a subscription button. That's ridiculous. Hit the little bell icon beside it so that if I do a little short or I put up a little post or anything like that, then you always know whenever it is that I'm going to go live or do whatever I'm going to do. What I will do, while I go in for my first swig of very hot tea, it's just come out of the kettle. I know it's going to burn me. I'll give you a second just to go and give the video a thumbs up, because every time you subscribe, you chat on the live chat, you leave a comment later on, like on the replay. If you hit the thumbs up button, it all affects the algorithm. All hail the algorithm, because that's basically what gets us exposure, and we want the community to grow. So perhaps you know someone who you'll benefit from the show. Go and let them know. Bring them along. Bring your family along if you want to. It's a family-friendly show. So hit that thumbs up button. I'm going to drink my danger tea. Not that hot. Maybe it was a bit longer ago that I drank that. Oh, I made that. Anyway, happy Friday, everybody. Hope you're having a wicked time. If you're painting something this evening, come and let me know. I told you I'm going to struggle talking today. If you're painting something this evening, I genuinely am interested. Please let me know. Take some photographs, stick it up on Facebook, put it up on Discord where you can join me at the end of the show for a live chat if you want to at the Easy 8 After Party. And you can talk about it in the live chat over here. We've got a bunch of people who's joined us over this evening. The first one in today, Christoulis. Yeah, you are the first one in. Hi, Christoulis. How are you doing? We've got Kez. Hey, how are you doing, Kez? Staff's there. Hi, good evening all. Table of Horrors is hi all. Adrian Dean. Hey, hey, hey. Time to put some colour on your grey. I like that. A little song. You could write that. I'm colouring my hair again. Cool. Yeah. Brilliant. Why are you colouring your hair? Do you need to colour your hair? You could have any colour hair. What would you have and why? I'll get you with hair. Yeah, not all of us have got it, mate. This is cultured, but that's a receding hairline. Look at that. Oh yeah, it's a solar power panel for a ridiculous machine. Jeff's joined us. That's my dad. For those of you that need to know, and Crumbs has joined us as well. Hi Crumbs. Hi guys. Thanks for coming along. If you're new and you want to join the live chat, please do. The more the merrier. Anyway. What am I painting this evening? Back to the old Battletech Raven. We'll have a closer look at that in just a second. If you've been keeping up with my dialogue on YouTube or on Facebook, you'll know that I've encountered a small problem. There's always a problem with every project that you're ever going to do. There's always going to be a problem, and it's having the nuts to deal with it, basically. And dealing with it might just be, well, I don't care. I'm just going to crack on, and that's fine. That's okay. It's your project. You do you. But I'm going to talk about my project in a second. However, the problem aside, it's looking really cool, and I'm really, really happy with it. And I'm going to be doing very much more. I'm going to be doing much more very much the same. I'm going to be doing the same thing I did last week, which is basically putting some tape down, little masking bits, and then spray painting it. It looks awesome. But anyway, I'm going to take you over to the workbench now, so here we go. That was like the most sinister smile I've ever done now. Those of you that were watching closely. So, what is the problem that I've got here? Well, the first problem is that my light seems to be out of place. That's a bit better. Crazy. Let's punch that up a little bit. Nope, that's going down. Up we go. Gosh, thank you very much. The cats have been in the studio. So, my first problem is that the grey and the silver blend away a little bit too much together. And the reason for that is the colours are very close. One is basically a metallic version of the other, right? That's pretty much what a silver is. It's a metallic grey, essentially. And because I've used a grey wash, Basilicanum grey, is brought the two colours very, very close together. So in some places, it's just quite... under the studio lights here, which are now brighter than ever. Why is that the case? Stop that now. Too far. Under the studio lights, which are still very, very bright, it's a little bit tougher to see. Well, it's a little bit easier to see under the studio lights, but when you're away from the studio lights, it's a bit tougher to see the definition between the two. So, what am I going to do to get around that? Well, there's several things I could do. One of them is to panel line everything. I don't want to. The whole point of using a unifying wash is to kind of to filter and to outline everything at the same go, and it has done that. So, the other thing that I can do is to do a dry brush. I can do a dry brush of the silver, a dry brush of the grey, hit them with some nice lighter tones, bring them out a little bit, make all those details pop, and that's what I'm going to do, basically. However, bit of a problem when it comes to this side over here, because this leg's got the pattern on it already starting to build up. It took me quite a while to do that, and it was even working after the show on Discord for a little while, finishing it off, and it takes a little while because putting all the tape on, but the effect does look amazing. I was talking to some people about it last week. I had a lot of fun doing this, even though, I mean, someone did point out that it takes a long time to do all the prep, but I think the payoff is really, really good, because I could freehand it, but it will never be that straightforward, or that straight. Here's my German mouse that I made some months ago. Really, really happy with the way that came out. Looks really cool. Love it. I wouldn't be able to freehand that, so yeah, that's why I'm doing it with tape, and it's just fun. Left my autofocus on today, and I don't think it's really cool, so I'm just gonna take the autofocus off. I thought it would work, but no, it's just likes to fight me, autofocus. So yeah, you can go away. There we go. That's better, isn't it? So I'm gonna be masking it out, spraying it on. I've got turquoise and I've got some sort of electric blue colour. Now, here's the second problem. Is that colour doesn't pop out very much. It doesn't stand out an awful lot. Under the studio light, it does stand out quite a bit. But when you take it away from this very intense light, which I don't know why it is that intense, I just dial it down a little bit. Come on now. That's better. There we go. It stands out quite a bit under the studio lights, but when you take it away from this, and you could take it in a sitting room or whatever, it's really hard to see. Like, it's not that strong. So I'm hoping that when I balance out the colours and their brightnesses, I suppose, with a bit of dry brushing, that hopefully that'll stand out a bit more. The other problem is, this has been pointed out to me by several people face to face with the miniature, is that it's not very turquoise, which is bizarre, because in the bottle, that looks really quite turquoise. It might not look like it on the camera here, but I can tell you, oh, excuse me, hiccups, I can tell you right now that it is a very turquoise. That is turquoise colour, but when it comes out on and goes on there, even though it looks the same, for some reason the grey, the silver maybe, is making it appear more blue. Now, here's the thing. Here's the blue that I'm going to use. I'm hoping that when I put the blue on there, it's going to make that turquoise pop. But for some reason, that still looks quite close. I don't know why, because if I hold these two together, you can clearly see there's a difference, right? Anyway, I could add a bit of green to this to make it more green, I suppose. I could add a bit of whiteness to brighten it up, to make it stand out a bit more from the background. I'm not really sure yet. First things first, though, let's get some dry brushing done on these guys, and that's what I need to do. I mean, the problem really could be the fact that this isn't an airbrush paint, and I had to put thinner in it to make it, you know, go through the airbrush. But you can see there, man, that's turquoise, and that's blue. There's a difference, right? I'm not being stupid. It's there. It's black and white, man. I can see that Adrian's asking, where did I get the dispenser on the tape from? This is a Tamiya set. You can buy this anywhere. You can get this online on Amazon if you want to, or from any reputable distributor of hobby goods, etc. I highly recommend Brooks Models, or any of those other places, and the little dispenser. Now, Tamiya do they do different widths. I don't know if they do different width dispensers. That's something you can look into. This and a whole stack of the same width tapes here were very kindly given to me by Kez, who's in the live chat right now. Thank you so much, Kez. I'm having a whale of a time with this. Kez bought it for a project, wasn't getting on with it. I'm loving it. It's just great fun. It's just another little technique to play around with, you know? Just enhances the fun with the airbrush. Right, I'm just trying to get the whole... The cats have been in the studio, basically, and what they do is they jump up here and they bang into everything, and it's just knocked all the lights and all my alignments out, and it's just doing me head in a little bit. That's a bit better. Okay, leave that alone. It's going to be one of them days, right? So, what am I going to do? I am going to find me some silver. Here's some chainmail silver. This is the same silver that I used to base coat these. I could go to a brighter silver and dry brush it with that. I think that might be a bit too much. I think to go into this silver, dry brushing this on, will be just fine. Because this silver's been dulled down quite a bit. It's the whole point of using that Basilicanum grey. And I just need to brush it up a little bit, brighten it up. It's going to be quite easy to do some parts, like the lasers, for example, because they stick out from the rest of the body quite easily. I could get in there with a brush quite simple. There are other parts which I might have to be a bit more inventive about, but I'm hoping that this is going to brighten up and separate those colours. So, yeah, all I need to do is find an appropriate brush. That is the tricky bit. So many brushes. That could be a good brush. I've got some of the Game Workshop brushes, the Citadel brushes. I absolutely hate them. I just don't think they are very good for any of their intended purposes. Apart from this little dry brush. This little dry brush seems to be pretty good. Could do with a bit of a clean though, because I haven't cleaned this out since I bought my cleaning soap. Crumbs has joined us. Have I not already said hi to Crumbs? Crumbs. Hi, Crumbs. Crumbs, if I haven't said hello to you. Hi, Crumbs. How you doing, pal? Happy weekend and stuff. So many things to think about when you're running a live stream. Keeping up with who's in the live chat or who came in and said hi can be really tricky. And I've got the worst memory in the world. Like, picked up my car keys. Where are my car keys? You're holding them. Yeah, whatever. One of those people. Just give that a little bit of a soapy soap. Get rid of any of the old bits of paint in there. Frankly, I could do with a really stubborn clean, but for now, this will be enough. All I want to do is stick a little bit of silver in there. Just wipe over some of the pieces. Now, I've also got this brush here, which is a very similar size, a little bigger. I think this is actually a sable brush. It was a really, really cheap brush. I picked it up like £1 from my local art shop. And it's really, really soft. It feels like sable. It might be synthetic. It's had a little bit of splaying over the years. I've abused this brush quite a lot, and it's stayed quite trusty. I like it. It's nice. It's a little bit fluffier than this Games Workshop one, and a little bit softer, so it might be more appropriate, and I might have a little bit of control with it. If I have to get into some of the smaller areas, a standard dry brush or something like this might not be so effective. I've got some other sort of like detail brushes where I can, I don't feel so bad abusing my Army Painter one. I bought this at the same time as my Raphael Kalinski's and they just, I prefer them. And this one had some really bad rogue bristles, so I trimmed them off. And when it's trying to get to a fine point, it's actually got quite a flat end now. So I don't really use this one an awful lot, so I don't mind using it in excessive ways, if that makes sense. So I've got a couple of brushes on standby. I'm going to bring in a piece of paper that I normally use for spraying on with the airbrush. But it just means that I can now get a little bit of paint in my palette, and then I can kind of wipe it off over here. This isn't the, I'm going to call it the modern way of dry brushing. I'm not actually a massive fan of dry brushing. It has its place, I'm sure. I'm not a massive fan of it, and I think that's just down to the fact, I've said this before, but I think that when I was sort of learning as a painter, I used dry brushing in a very lazy way. I used it as a detail, picker outer. I know that's what it's for, but I overdid it, you know, and I wasn't very good at it, and it looks very messy. And the nozzles come off inside the thing. Great. Yeah, I overdid it. I relied on it far too much as a technique. It was very, very chalky, and it just didn't look very good. I know that there are different ways of doing airbrushing now, especially with the Artis Opus ranges of brushes. They're very cool. They are quite expensive. Yes, I am looking into getting them. Silver, a notorious crawler. Say it every time the silver comes out to play. Splurt it out when I pop the lid back on. Go over anything. And now that's on me, I've got glitter on me. Love that. Thanks so much. Ugh, silver. Anyway, in the palette. Let's get the microphone in my face. The reason I'm using this particular pot is because this is designed for brush. The other one I've got is designed for airbrush, and it's much more runnier, which is less conducive to dry brushing. Even though your dry brush should, depending on how you like to dry brush of course, should have some moistness in the bristles. That's one of the key factors to avoiding your dry brushing looking chalky. With this now, I wish 15-year-old me knew that. It's key to success in dry brushing. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to douse my brush in water. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a drop on my fingertip, and then I'm just going to basically pick that up with the brush. Wipe any excess off my hand just there, and now that's just kind of moistened the bristles enough to kind of keep them alive. And now I can go in with my paint, and I want to wipe most of it off. Now here's the second aspect of proper dry brushing, is that wiping it off onto an absorbent piece of material is bad, and you're not really doing anything by wiping it off on a piece of paper or a flat surface. So texture palettes are absolutely the way forward. Now people start making their own texture palettes by putting old bits of sprue down on a, I don't know, a piece of plastic or a box lid or something and using that, but that's too much. Texture palettes are very, very shallow. They're just kind of laser etched almost, and that's kind of more what you want. Always test off a little bit on the back of your hand in case you've got a bit that you missed, and I'm happy with that. Here we go then. So I'm trying to avoid any smears. I'm just trying to pick out those edges and just bring that polished look back a little bit. Not trying to remove the effect that the filter has put in there. When I put that grey wash on. Should just brighten up those lasers a little bit. And it has done. Stands out a little bit now from the rest of the grey. You can tell because this bit here, this little square at the back here, they're both silver. And this now stands out a little bit. Trick is to not get this on the grey, which is not so easy. One of the reasons I'm not a massive fan of dry brushing. Actually very little I can do with this brush on this area here, but I can, I suppose, just hit these little frames at the back here like this. And frankly, that's all I'm comfortable doing with this brush because of the size of everything here. Hit the front of the SRMs there. SRMs, short range missiles. Right, I'm going to go to my army painter brush. It's a clean brush. Yeah, it feels nice and supple. Again, drop of water on my fingertip. Now you can get like proper sponges to do. Like you would wet a sponge, like almost like a stamp sponge, and then you could actually like tap your dry brush into that, and that's enough moisture. I don't have that, so I've kind of developed my own little way. Stafford has said, "Don't mention the music. Don't want to curse it, but the music levels and the audio levels are perfect right now." Okay, cool, good. I have, fingers crossed, sorted the music problem. There was a rogue copy of the playlist in between some of the songs, so it would start playing the first sort of half a dozen songs, music bits, and then it would play the playlist and then just play all the way through. So yeah, you were repeating the first sort of 6 songs or so. Really sorry about that. Yeah, I'm not a very good painter. I'm not a very good broadcaster. Who cares? Have fun. Okay. Because this isn't a dry brush, it doesn't like holding an awful lot of paint after you've wiped most of it off. So I like to put it on the piece of paper and kind of twist it a little bit, try and push it into the bristles, and it sort of helps. Really making the silver pop there. I don't know if it's really picking it up on the camera at all, but that little frame at the back is really starting to pop a little bit, which is really cool. Christina said, saying there's a glitch in the jukebox. Yeah, absolutely. Jukeboxes, man. Jukeboxes are cool. Even do a smaller brush, I think, frankly. Difference between that side and that side there, quite significant. Now I don't like dry brushing with silver so much because it does leave speckles of glitter everywhere. I'm just not going to be able to avoid that very much. I'm just trying to be careful about how much I dry brush today, but already I can see down in there there's little speckles. You might be able to see those being picked up on the camera, but there's little I can do about it. It's one of the things I don't like about metallic colours. I can see the glittery speckles, the individual dots in the bristles of this brush. It's a cheaper, lower quality metallic. That's why I like to use the higher quality ones. What can you do? It's actually quite difficult to do. Got a tinier old detail brush that I don't use anymore. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to do a mixture of like line highlighting and dry brushing. So I'm going to wipe most of the colour off here, off those bristles, and then I'm just going to go in and basically pick out some of these details because I've got the little rungs, the little ladder bits there. You know what? That might help me lessen the impact of glitter spatter. The new term, I've just made that up. Glitter spatter. You're welcome. Once again, my pan is a little bit out. Let me just fix my pan here. Nope, pan is fine. It's tilt that I want. There we go. Come down here a bit. It's a bit more comfy to hold it. Yeah, nice. Thanks, man. Okay. Now, I just don't want to be spending ages repainting areas that I've already done. So the goal here is to just be swift, right? Swift and clean. Insert whatever inappropriate joke you want to at that point. Christina says, I'm too lazy. I have to use metallics for tabletop quality for my own stuff. It just goes quicker. Yeah, I prefer metallics over non-metallic metal, non-metal metallics. You know what I mean? NMMM. Although I think that is a talented technique. If I'm going to have metallics, I'll have metallics. Thank you. I just think you can get higher quality metallics. And I absolutely think it's worth spending a bit of time trying to find one that you get on with, that produces the results that you like. That's a little bit better than just the standard game colour from Vallejo. Anyone try out the Army Painter Speed Paint metals yet? I haven't, but some people I think in the live chat have. Discuss. Okay, that's enough for the silver on the head bit there. To the torso, or the legs, rather. I have one, but I've not tried it yet. Says Cares. I've got a few of their metal speed paints. Says Shiv. Crumb says Chris. They are shite. Save your cash. They reactivate and wash away when you put a shade over them. You could, of course, do a layer of varnish over the top, but that does require you doing a layer of varnish over the top. Extra time in it. Oops, messed that up. Use my army painter brush here just to kind of go in and clean that area up. Probably worth doing that without a brush that I've already got metallics in. Okay. Back in. Excellent. Underneath it, just a little bit of attention down here. Don't need to spend too much time down there because no one's lifting up the skirt of this little raven. No one's going to be picking it up to look underneath and going, oh yeah, great quality down there. So, just a little bit to make me happy that I know I've done it. So onto the legs themselves then. We go straight over to the one where the colour's already on it. I've got a little bit here. bit down the front of the shin. I'm really just trying to focus on those edges. Use the opportunity to buff out essentially any areas where the filter's gone a little bit too heavy. Kind of disguising it perhaps. Disguising the colour. There's the edges that I want to enhance. They'll just pop and it will just have a nice effect. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Happy with this so far. A bit at the back here. A little bit there in the middle of that hip joint, whatever it is. Rotatey bit. And the rest are all really difficult to get at because they're all inside the ankle and the toes. So I'm really not going to cry about that at all. Now over to the other side. I'll start from the top. I'll go straight in for that little hip rotatey bit. You know what I mean. Funny you say that, Kez. I was considering watering one down and using it more as a shade paint. This is going back to the speed paints. I've missed a comment. Kez says, I really like that the speed paints as a paint, not as they were designed. Ah, okay. Cool. A couple of coats will build to a decent colour, but that defeats the whole speed aspect of it. Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Crumbs. Let's face it, speed paints are just Army Painter's response to Citadel's contrast paints. And the whole point of contrast paints was that they were supposed to... they're another tool in the toolbox, for sure, for anybody. But they were there for people who have little experience, who want to kind of produce something quite quickly with that looks reasonably good. And they do help with that. But you can't just slap it on really, really quickly and hope that's going to be good enough. You actually have to take your time. And that kind of almost feels... against the grain with the concept of those paints. You have this sort of notion, because we were told by Citadel that this is how you use these paints. You just buy these, you just slap them on and be done with it. You can do that, but it's not going to look that great. And you want to take your time, and you only get a couple of decent brush strokes before you start damaging that paint, as I did on this miniature just a couple of weeks ago. I've got a tiny chalky build up, so I'm just putting a little bit of moisture back into the bristles. Of course, that is going to wash out some of the paint. I'm going to go back in and put some paint back in my brush. They should stop that chalkiness just starting to occur down here. Has it helped separate the two colours? Not so much. Has it helped make the silver pop a little bit more? Yes, it has. Added a little bit of definition back in there. I think I'm going to do very much the same with the grey, and I think we can just get back on it. Now, what am I going to do about the turquoise bits? I can kind of dry brush around them, maybe. I could even just dry brush over them and see if that kind of blends all the colours together. it's worth having a go. But of course, if it messes up, then I've dry brushed the wrong colour over that turquoise, or that turquoise that's trying to be turquoise that actually isn't. So, got to think about that. Now, with this paint, I don't have to hand the dry version, or do I? I do. Stop the press. Hasn't been used for a while, so it needs a really good shake. Let's see how this goes. Looks like it's pretty gummed up. Oh, that was satisfying. Excellent. Pop a load of that in the palette. Again, I'm using that because it's thicker than the airbrush paint, obviously, and I want it to be thicker so I can handle it better as a dry brush paint. We go for some tea. Yum, yum, yum. This particular paint is actually still quite a runny paint. Some airbrush paints are thicker. Some are really, really watery. Some brush paints are really watery as well. Others are chunky. It depends on the brand and the particular individual colour. This one here is really quite runny as well. The silver was quite gloopy. Don't know why I'm using that particular brush at all. Wash this original one out. Okie dokie, let's try underneath here where you'll see very little. Very effective, a little too effective. So just need to make sure that I haven't got so much paint in the brush. And that's probably because it's such a runny paint, really wet. Painting all over my hands there. Certainly brings some of the panels out in detail. A little bit better. As it separated the two colours, not so much. That's okay. It has brought a little bit more vibrancy to the colours though, which is quite helpful, quite nice. Good thing about the paint here being quite damp in the brush is that if I go a little bit too heavy on maybe an edge or even on a flat panel and I get like a big smear, I could just use the end of my finger and just wipe it away. It seems to get rid of the bit that I've just ruined, which is quite handy. That obviously only lasts as long as the paint stays damp in the bristles. I have no doubt that if this was a proper dry brush and I had a proper texture palette, that I'd be able to make some really nice effects here. I just don't have those things. I've got to work with what I've got. I'm okay with that. I've just seen what you named the folder for your dad's file. It says Kez, yeah. Can't say that on there. If you trust me with good things, I'll ruin it for you. Sorry, mate. For anybody else, that's a personal joke. What does everybody else think so far? Is that has separated the colours a little bit because the silver's a little bit shinier, which is quite nice. I don't mind them being so close. I could later on, like at the end of it, or if I really felt like it, I could go around with a panel liner. And I might do that. If it sets all those colours off, then that is what I'll resort to. Those colours aren't looking so flat anymore, I don't think, anyway. What does everybody else think? Two colours that are very, very close together, isn't it? There's a shininess on this paint job as well that will disappear once I do like the final matte layer on it. Okay, let's get in and now I've got a super soft. Might be quite handy. Let's do that. Just fit in some of those larger areas like that. The middle bit, the hips. Got an old water colours brush. Normally use it for thinning, thinning paints down, oil paints with thinner, or cleaning, just like dusting. But here, super soft dry brush. Christina saying, anybody got any hobby New Year's resolutions? Get more stuff painted. I think someone said that last week, perhaps. Yeah, just going to get more things painted, for sure. We've got our 200th episode coming up in a couple of weeks. We've got a big surprise. So if you're interested in what that surprise might be, come along to the 200th episode. It'll be on the 24th of January. It's not a massive, massive surprise. But come along because you might like it. You can see a lot of those edges now starting to be highlighted. I personally think it's a little bit too much, but maybe as I handle it, it'll dull down a little bit. It certainly brings a lot of attention to a lot of the angled bits on there. What are your guys' thoughts? I do like to listen to the advice and views and opinions of the community. So let me know what you think of this miniature so far. Have I killed it? This is what it looks like without the highlights, which I certainly prefer. With the highlights, quite explosive. Line off of it. What do you think? I think I need to add a bit of green and a bit of white to that turquoise. I need to brighten it up and I need to make it more green. I like the blue and the silver, it's a cool camo and makes it pop. You think? Do you think? It is definitely supposed to be turquoise, so it's supposed to be more green than it is blue. But when I put the blue on, it might change it entirely. I just think that when I put the blue on, I think they're going to be very similar. So I'm going to see if I can green up the next set of turquoise. And if I have to go back over that stuff on that side there, I will. I'll do it. Just wet my finger and my thumb. I'm just kind of going over the areas where the blue bits are, just to sort of wash it down. So I know that I can go in with a wet brush, just loosen up the grey highlights, the dry brush highlights on the turquoisey bits in there. Neat trick, just learned. Okay. Let's wash out my army painter brush. Shiv saying making everything on the leg pop. Yeah. For a guy who doesn't like the dry brush, he doesn't do a great job. I mean, thanks, but the technique does it itself. All I do is I just do this with a brush. Right, that's it. Don't be overly kind with your comments now. That was easy. Right, okay. Last little bit of dry brushing on that other leg then. And then I'm going to have a little go at just playing around with seeing if I can make that turquoise more turquoisey. Well, I need this more grey paint, that's for sure. I always seem to spend a really large amount of time at the beginning of every show kind of undoing or repairing last week's stuff before I really get stuck into what I want to do. But that's just the nature of, well, my painting anyway. But every project, I think, is going to have its ups and downs and its roundabouts, and revisits and redos as you're learning a thing. This isn't a practiced style that I do. If I was to be painting my Tyranids, I'd be probably going through them much faster. Especially my Skitari units with the orange and the metalworks and whatever. I kind of got that down to a T. You give me a miniature that I've done loads on before, and I'm going to smash that style out really quickly. Because I've kind of done that groundwork of working out what the mistakes are, how it looks, how I repair it, how to avoid it in the future. Every project's going to have that bit where you go, oh, this isn't quite right, and you spend sometimes a month just working out how to solve that problem. And I know that some of us working on some red colour schemes right now in the live chat have experienced a bit of a turnaround in that. A little bit of a victory recently with a gold and a red. Am I right, Shiv? I'm happy with that. Don't know what everybody else feels about it, but I'm pretty happy with it. I quickly use this brush just to go over all these surfaces here. Make it look nice and uniform compared to the legs. Be done with it. Boom. Let's put the whole thing together. Get rid of you. Be uncomfortable. All rough. It's really interesting that you guys are saying that the blue really pops, because it does to a degree under the studio lights. But when you take it away from the studio lights, if you just pop over to Facebook or even to the YouTube like community tab, you can see I've put a couple of pictures up of this thing, and the colour is visible, but it doesn't pop quite so much. It's actually quite blended away, and I was hoping that the grey would blend away and those colours would stand right out. So I'm going to let that settle for a minute, because clearly oh, excuse me, I've got the hiccups, haven't I? Even though that paint is dry brushed, it is still wet, which is really easy for me to pull it off with a wet brush, right? So I need to let that sit there for a second. So what I'm going to do, this is where I was mixing the thinner with the turquoise last week. So I'm going to add a touch of white and a touch of green to it. I don't know what colour to add, colour green to add, or what hue green to add. I've got loads. I could add like a really like electrified green into it. I think that might be a bit much. I'm thinking a bit of goblin green. It's a bit leafy. I've got some sick green, which probably is a bit more appropriate. Yeah, probably. Do you know what? I'm going to do that. Let's pop that in. Sick green. And then a little bit of white, just to brighten it up, so it stands out a little bit from the background. My New Year's hobby resolution is to finish last year's list, says Christoulis, and introduce a few of my friends to Warhammer at my house. That would be lush. Do that. Yeah, bring more people in to the community. Get subscriptions going. If we can get to 250 subscribers before or by episode 200, that just feels like a really round thing. I challenge you, community. Get us more subscribers. 250 by episode 200. It's a good few weeks there. We've had 15 subscribers in 1 week. I'm sure you guys can go and do it. I'm sure you can. Right, there's my turquoise. To me, that's really turquoisey. There's a blue. Yeah. I'm red-green colourblind. There's no red in this, but there's a lot of green, so it's not really helpful, is it? Now I think I just need to add like a tiny dot, right? Is this even bright enough? Who knows? Just gonna have some fun. And then hope it all works out. Seems to have gone brighter. I don't know. Has it? split. I know that adding the tiniest amount of white will really affect the luminosity or the brightness of a colour, so I've got to be really careful with how much white I add. And of course I've got to be able to replicate it for the rest of the model, so if I run out here... No. Blue pants, right? Quite bright though, I like that. I think I could add a bit more green into it. I'm gonna. I'm gonna add a bit of thinner into that. It's a bit gloopy. Where's my thinner gone? There it is. That'll help mix things up a little bit. Gonna try and play around with some amounts. You know, just put a bit more of this turquoise colour back in there. See what that does to it. Just trying to add a bit of volume to the quantity really. Paint that I've got in there. I've actually disturbed the old layer of paint in there, so I want to be careful. I want to pour that into my airbrush. What do you guys think about that? Is that more appropriate? I'm actually starting to go a little bit blue-eyed on the screen. Like I can't really concentrate on what colour that is. On the screen it looks a little bit reddier. But that's just because I'm broken when it comes to colours, I think. Is that the right colour? I'm gonna add a bit more green. I'm gonna do it. You can't stop me. Oh yeah, look. The skins come off. Gross. Well, I'm just going to mix it up and just see what happens to the colour. Get rid of this. Still more in that pot. I'll have to clean it. How does that look to you guys? Does that look more turquoise? Does that look more greeny blue? I suppose it does. I'm trying to think turquoise. Yeah. Suppose. Weird. Anyway, look, we're at a point where time to go for a break, isn't it, really? Because we're an hour in already. Can you believe that? Oh, Steve Jenkins has joined us. Hi, Steve. How you doing? Sup, homebrews? Sup? Away, brew? Sports references. Go sports! Christina says you could fake edge highlight the camo patterns. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I was going to do, essentially, was just go back in, create whatever colour it was, be it this blue, be it this turquoise aberration that I've made here, add a stock of white to it, and then I could just go in and fake it, like you say, fake it, edge highlight it. I like the way you think. Yeah, that was my plan. I think that is a colour that will pop against the rest of this. I don't know what you guys think. Way in the corner of the screen, but it certainly looks more vibrant. It certainly looks richer. It's got more green in it by a decent percentage. Can I recreate it is the thing. I'm also a little bit concerned about the blue, about it being too close to the turquoise when I go, but if I hold this blue paint beside this turquoise paint now, see that they're actually quite different. I could make it more richer by adding other blues to it. See what happens, and just hopefully it just all kind of works together. I'm hoping that when the whole model is painted and you can see the camouflage all over it, that it should look quite cool. I could and I don't want to, so I don't think I'm gonna. I could go around and edge shade every single colour with like a really dark grey or a black to really make them pop, but it would look very cartoonish, and I don't have the patience or the skill to be able to make that look really, really good. But it is something I could certainly do. If this was a larger model, like a 28mm model, that's something I could certainly do. What I probably would do is like mask all the lines off in black first, and then just shrink the area down by just kind of moving the masking in by a couple of millimeters, if that makes sense. That's definitely turquoise, says Christulus. Yep, I agree, but I thought the other one was really turquoise as well. I think it's turquoisey. And one thing I did learn last week is that after I've added a load of thinner to it, the paint lasts a really long time in the airbrush, and it goes a really long way as well. So that should be enough. Hopefully it will be. I could add a little bit more thinner to it. Adria says, we could stop you, Danny, but that would require some effort. And we're all lazy, right? Adria also says, would that be the technique? You paint the middle and leave the base colour at the edge. Yes. Yeah. That's another thing I could do as well, is I could just like hue shade. I'm making that term up, hue shade, but like Adrian says, use a darker version of the same colour. Modulation, basically. Cool. Anyway, do you know what? I'm going to go away for a quick break. I'm going to chug my tea down here because I've been talking away for ages, and I'm going to go and get myself a grown-up juice because it's the weekend and we all deserve a grown-up juice. It is also my last official week of working in the studio, my last live stream before I'm employed again. I start my new job on Monday, so I've got some things to celebrate, right? Anyway, I'll be about 10 minutes, so go change your paint water, go grab yourself a grown-up juice. See you in a minute, bye! Welcome back, hope you had a good break. I went and got myself a choicey golden ale because we all know, and Crumbs knows, that I love a golden ale. But I haven't got the not so secretly sponsorship. I have no sponsorships. I have to say that. There are no sponsorships involved in this program at all. But I love a gold hobgoblin. This is an old golden hen. Happy weekend, everybody. Happy 2025. Cheers to all the new subscribers and old. Love you all. Yum, yum, yum. Ugh, right. Well, you know, it's been Christmas, so like everybody else's house, I'm sure, absolutely filled with chocolate and snacks, and this is going to be the eating month, it really is. So here's to a little Easy 8 thin thing. Yum. After 8, Easy 8, you know the score. Stuff says, hey Goblin, hey Hobgoblin, hey Hoblong? Hey Hobgoblin, hear that? No sponsor yet. If Hobgoblin want to sponsor me, I love beer. Just saying. Yeah. I bet on old speckled hen tonight, it says table. I love that. Oh, that was very watery in the mouth. Anyway, I hope you're having a good evening. I've got too much chocolate in my mouth. Hope you're having a good evening. I hope your projects are coming on. If you are working on something this evening, please do come and tell me all about it. I'm genuinely inspired by the stuff that you do. Certainly motivated by the stuff you do. I love having this little hobby corner every week. Having those 2 hours that you know a set time every week is going to be in my mouth, says Stafford. Having those 2 hours every week really helps me just hone in, knowing that I've got that time allocated generally to put into my hobby. Has really helped me get stuff done, because there was years where I wasn't getting any things done. I wasn't getting any work done at all. And that's just down to the fact that I didn't have that routine, and I hope that this show provides you with that. So if you're working on something, if it's helping you get through your shameful piles of grey plastic, let me know. I genuinely want to hear about it. Take some photos, stick them up on Facebook or Discord, because we're not just here on YouTube. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord. All of the links to all of our platforms are all down there in the link, in the comment section. So go and check all those platforms out. But don't do it right now. Stay here for the live show, because we're here for another hour painting minis with me. If you like what we do, of course, or you're new and you haven't done it yet, please hit the subscribe button. Want that community to grow. It is growing. This has been a phenomenal week, and I know that my weekly report with YouTube is going to tell me that, but I've had at least 15 subscribers. I know the number went down a little bit last week. I was like, oh, that's a bit of a bummer. The live chat was spicy, and that was to be expected. And then it went through the roof, and I'm up to, well, 15 more than what it said at the end of last week's show. I've had about 16 or 17 more subscribers. Really struggling to talk to them, sorry. So if you're new, if you're just coming along to see what it's all about, thanks. This is just a humble little gathering. It is literally a painting club from the attic in my house, and I'm genuinely honoured by the fact that you guys have come along. So thank you very much, and I hope that you stick around. There you go, cool. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. I'll give you a second while I sip more beer. And I've got some more chocolates, so be prepared for more spitting. Cool. Tell me how your project is getting on. I want to find out all about it. I'm going to take you to the workbench. Here we go! So I did a thing. Didn't quite know how to introduce it, but I thought it was a funny joke. Nope. Okay. I even paint that on in the break and everything. Come on now, give me some credit. That was funny. I liked it. Where am I at with the painting? It was such a funny joke. I'm actually tittering to myself. I've got to see if I can get that in the airbrush. So, let's turn the airbrush on. Excuse me, did someone say chocolate? Yeah, I'd love to get into shape, but I just love cake, chocolate and beer. Those are my things, man. Can't help it. Right. I'm going to need some masking tape. There's actually a part of me that wants to just put a little drop of this blue in and then put a drop of that turquoise in and just compare them on a piece of paper, just see what they're like. So I'm going to do that as well. I've got a piece of paper that I'm going to spray with as well. First things first, I'm going to take the torso off of this mech, and I'm going to start putting some tape down in. I had a great time doing this last week. It just took a little bit of practice just to kind of get into it. Easy after 8, yeah. East, East after 8? What? Easy after 8? That is broken. I'm going to not copy the other side, which is quite tempting to want to do. So I'm literally just going to put a line down there. I'm going to get rid of that little cat hair. Hopefully. Keep those tweezers out because they're very useful. A little silicone brush for sculpting, which is pretty handy for like getting into all the little creases and stuff a little bit later on. But right now I've got this big flat surface to work on. So that's nice and fun, nice and easy. Off a bit here. That. And I think it's quite important if you're doing this, like masking off. I think it's quite important that you do check the space that you're about to spray in, because you could just say, "Oh yeah, that looks fine to me. I know the area that I'm spraying in now," but it might not be a good enough shape. It might not be a right enough, a decent enough size. So I always say, like, just look at it before you go. I always say, like I've been doing this for a long time, I think in my head that this is a process that you should go through. I think you should look at it and go like, is that good enough shape, size, etc.? Is that good enough coverage? Is it too much? Is it too little? And adjust it if you want to. I'm just going to get started and I'm going to start spraying. But before I do that, I want to check my colours. I want to put a drop of blue in here and I'm going to spray it on the paper, and then I'm going to put a drop of that in there and see the difference and just see what happens. Because I want to see how the two compare. I need to give that a really good shake, to be honest. Because if the turquoise and the blue are too similar, then I need to do something to them to stop them from being similar. I don't know where I was going with that. Does not want to go through the airbrush. That's quite a thick paint, that one. Let's put a drop of thinner in there. To try and saturate that area and make it nice and bright. It's going against a dark surface, which I don't really mind. It's going on a fairly dark surface itself on the miniature. That's the blue. In my head, that feels too bright. It's too light. Not bright, too light. Too sky blue. Needs a bit of depth if you want my opinion. Let's just purge that out a second. There's a tiny blockage in my airbrush. I've strip cleaned it twice in the last 2 days. Don't quite know where that blockage is. But the airbrush is misbehaving. It's just taking a little while to drain right now. It's going down. Okay, now, just a drop of this turquoise to compare beside. Now to me, they look very, very different. They're shining the light back a little. Yeah. There's a difference between the two. On my monitor, that they both appear quite bluish. There's a definite difference in the green, in the turquoise. I think I'm happy with this as a turquoise. I genuinely am. I think it's alright. So I'm going to go ahead with that. I'm going to add a bit more thinner to it though. It does last quite a while in the airbrush. It lasted all evening last time. I was only doing small bits, but I was thinking it might dry. It didn't. It was really well behaved. Good. That's up like that, so now I can pour and scrape and control any amount of skin that's from the previous pack. I should have cleaned it out. I genuinely thought that that old paint layer was going to stay the tin, but it didn't. As soon as I started adding thinner, broke it down, I got like a skinny lump. Just realised that you can't see what I'm doing, but all I'm doing is just pouring paint into my brush. Okay. Add a small amount of water in there. Just a drop from the end of the brush. Okie dokie. Like Christula says, that does appear to me to be quite turquoisey. So I'm happy with that. The blue, I might make it more blue. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but yeah, we'll get there. Got some paint these drying on the spray bit. I'm making an awful lot of sense there, am I? Stafford will commence with the run once the Dremel away. You met me before, right? Power tools and alcohol do not mix. You are correct there, Christulus. What are you dremeling, Stafford? Tell me. Tell us. Please. Just need to shake harder to get the mix. Yeah, maybe. It's just, I thought that was going to be nice and electric. It's come out a little bit baby blue. I think that the next lightest blue that I've got is this one. I think that's quite a strong blue. I will try it directly on the paper as well, but it might be a mixture of these two. Make those two blue. Yeah. Get the idea. Now, last week I had a bit of clean film. I have forgotten that this week, so I'm going to have to just try and hold my hand to protect the rest of the model. Should be fairly easy, and I was being quite accurate last week with the airbrush, so let's just see how we go. If I had two airbrushes, I could have put a drop of white in one, sprayed that down, air dried it, and then put the turquoise or blue on top of it, and that would have made it really pop, wouldn't it? But I don't have two airbrushes. Because I'm not rich. But if monetization was to happen, things like that I could do. I don't think there's any need for monetization. It's just a gathering of people, right? Just looking at the comments going in. Kez Hooper, please, can I have a 3D printed Jeff? Tiny Jeffs for everyone. I have no idea how we got there. This is what happens. I leave the live chat alone for a few minutes and it starts getting a bit out there, doesn't it? Done it. Nice crisp line there. That's looking particularly cool. Definitely a different shade to the shade that's on there. I don't know, it just feels like it could be brighter, you know? Whew. Excellent. Certainly is a different shade, not by far, but we'll see how it goes. Got a long ways to go with it yet. Okay, cool. So other places to put this colour. I think we need one that kind of goes over the edge a little bit, don't we? Let's go over the edge. I don't want my little silicone brush. Where have you gone? There it is. That was very nearly a disaster. I've got a blockage in the nozzle somewhere, and it could just be a little bit of dried up paint on the tip of the needle. Did you see how it all just kind of came out in one big blob? I thought I was being a bit timid on the trigger. But I wasn't. That was close. Bit of air to dry that down. Lovely. I've stuck to the tape like Postman Pat. Now, when I sprayed that on there, I think there was a little bit of paint that managed to run underneath the tape when I had that big old blast that came out in one big go. And it's definitely with a big dollop here. Not too fussed about it right now because it means I can come in a little bit later on with the blue and I can just match those two sides up, hide that blob of turquoise paint under the blue when that goes on there. That is my plan, basically. Cool. Got one that goes on the top there. Might do one that kind of comes down the back over here. Where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? It's coming from this side. Tape is stickier this week. Why is it stickier this week? Come on now. That's better. Oh, too far. Too far. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Patience, patience, patience. Tape is sticking to the tweezers more than it is the miniature this week for some reason. A little bit exposed bit just at the top up there. I'm just trying to... Oh, come on. Ugh. Tape is pulling other tape off. Why are you so sticky this week? You go down there. I was going to say there was a little bit exposed at the top, but now there isn't. All I want. That line. Across there. Oh, God. Why you not stick to the model? Something like that, please. Thank you. A bit rubbish from my workbench, just stuck to it there. Get rid of that. There we go. Yep, that'll do. Quick test on the old turquoise, lovely. Hit arson there, dry that down. Oh, quick check on the live chat. A Jeffette says Stefan. I would really like a tiny Jeff, please. The thing is, with a 3D printer, you could totally do that. Thanks, Stefan. I've been sick in my mouth. Jeffette. Remember, a Jeff isn't just for Christmas, because they're really hard to wrap. Would it be a mini Jeff in full armor? Maybe. If it has a battle axe, can it be a Jeff Zerker? We're going a little bit crazy with the whole mini Jeff thing now, right? My first airbrush experience was one of those cheap $50 kits. It was only later that I realised all of my frustration was because it was locked at 19 psi. Ah! Yeah, I suppose if you can't adjust the pressure of your air, that is going to cause you a lot of problems. And to be honest, I don't really play with the pressure on my compressor. It's around 30, 25 to 30, and that does me for most money. I did used to play around with it, but I'm not good enough to do that. But I think 19 is too low, so you'd end up getting a lot of droplets and spatter, I think, at that sort of lower pressure. Especially with thicker paints like primers, which, when you're starting out, is one of the main things that you end up airbrushing, right? Because you want to kind of get those undercoats and those base colours down nicely and quickly so you can get that early stage of the model process out of the way, right? I bought my airbrush knowing that I was just going to be able to get all of my horde work done on my Tyranids nice and quickly. And then I very quickly realised that I would make that time back up by spending too much time on the detail part. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Look at that, it snagged ever so slightly on the edge of my tweezers. Despite me pushing it down on the model, it stuck to the tweezers more. Behave yourself. Use that silicone brush now just to kind of push it into those recesses. Get all the angles in there. Get off of me, please, tape. Yeah, I did like 8 coats on everything. It had me really questioning why everyone said it was so fast. Yeah, it took me a long time to realise that I was using brush paints through my airbrush. So I was constantly struggling to push paint through it. It was constantly blocking up. It would then forcibly come out in big blobs like you saw a minute ago with that little blockage that I had. And I was just strip cleaning the airbrush every 10 minutes. And I was like, this is absolutely not what I wanted from an airbrush, and not what I expected. And it took me a long time. Like, I think it was probably a year before I realised what it was that I was doing. Because I'd had such a bad experience initially, I ended up putting the airbrush away. I was only really bringing it out on the odd occasion rather than having it all the time. And at that time, I didn't have the studio, so I was having to set it up and strike it down every time. And after a while, I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to use brush paints again. That's why spaces like you've created are great. We all can swap tips. I didn't have someone next to me to tell me my tool was bunk. It's exactly the sort of story that I'm really happy to hear. It's exactly what a club is all about, right? And that is what Easy 8 is. It is a club. and I'm really glad that you find value in that. So thanks for saying that, man. I really appreciate that. And sometimes, like, you know, you guys tell me stuff like, no, don't do that, try this, or have a go with that. Oh, I don't think that looks great. I'm sat there in my own belief going like, yeah, this looks really good, and you guys like, it looks rubbish, don't do it. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I like think back and I'm like, yeah, I'm glad to listen to those guys. Important to have that little community, a little network around you. Sticking to all my tools. This week's tape is sponsored by Never Give Up. Stop it now. Don't know who Never Give Up are, just my mouth was open, sounds came out. Does not want to stop sticking to my tools. Cat hair in there somewhere, but I think it's hidden under the tape, so that's good. Is this going smoothly? Yes. I'm a little bit faster than last week, for sure. Tape being frustrating, damn straight it is. Getting some nice little patterns in there, it's all good. I think I need some smaller bits of tape, that might help. Pulled off some sections there about 1 inch long. If I had some smaller ones, half that size, might be a bit more helpful. Especially if we get into those smaller places. A couple there. Now I'm going to be working right up to the edge here, so I don't know if you can see clearly, there's a little line here, which on the inside there is silver. So if we look up this side here, for example, I'm going to be taking the turquoise right up to the edgy edge. I don't want it to spill over in that silver area, but I don't want all this colour just to be on like the sides. I want it to kind of wrap around those surfaces a little bit. So this is going to be a very basic attempt at that. Hopefully that doesn't stick to the tweezers more than my fingers, or more than the model, sorry. There we are, like that. Cool. Smaller bits of tape were definitely helpful. Been doing a lot of quadrilaterals in there, a lot of four-sided shapes. So I'm going to try and go for a bit of a triangle. Excellent. This is the way that's worked out. There is like a little bit of, there's like a little hole at the back there. Can you see that? Just here. So that means any paint will get through there because it's going through the airbrush. It will get through there. Just another piece, just at the back there. Cover over that. There we are. Nice. Down so it doesn't flap around all over the place. Lush. Bit of an awkward angle to come in with the airbrush there, but if I just, oh hello, just take my time. Okay. I think that's enough on the top part of the leg there. It's taken me a little while to get around, get through all of that. That's fine, that's okay. Got the lower leg to do now. That's probably one of the trickier parts, that and the toes. You can see I did a little bit on the toes at the end of last week. Doing the back of the leg here, so I've got this space and this space, and it kind of wraps around the two sides. That doesn't take very long. I should only put 2 or 3 shapes on there last time. And there's the ankle bit down at the bottom as well. So I reckon I could probably get a couple more patterns on before the end of the show. I am going to be here for a little while after the show. Not massively late. I had a really, really late night last night. It was a wicked evening. I had a great time playing games with Shiv at Table of Horrors and his gang over there over at Twitch. The most watched video on Twitch of that genre all week, so pretty happy to be a part of that. It's quite a cool thing, right? But it was like 3:45 in the morning, and it was just nice to be able to do one last thing like that before I start my new job. Well, I'm 43 and I can't stay up that late anymore. I actually did okay. I was all right. I was a little dozy on the sofa earlier on, but I haven't done anything really all day. I've been that tired because I had to get up early as well, which I knew it was coming up. It was just well, I made my bed and now I've got to lie in it, and I've been a bit grumpy all day. I've got some new job nerves sitting, in the belly, making me quite anxious. I'm scared of the new job. It's going to be fine. Like, I know I'll be all right, but I've been doing my old job in my old place with my old colleagues for 16 years. You don't, when you go to work in that sort of situation, you just turn up and you do your thing. You know what to do. This is working with new people in a new environment. I know that they're very happy with me, but there's an expectation to want to impress, right? And my first day is spending a whole day on the river kayaking. It's Baltic out there at the moment as well, and I'm very aware that I've just spent 2.5 months doing Sweet FA. I'm gonna be shattered and cold. Ugh, yeah. Be alright. So, yeah. I will be on for a little while. I'll probably finish off this leg, maybe play a video game for an hour, and I'll be done. But I will be doing all of it over at Easy 8 After Party. Come and join me and whoever else comes along as well for a post-club chat. You can type if you want to type, you can chat if you want to chat, you can put your video on if you want. Put your video on.
You can probably hear me now. This is probably going through an unfiltered microphone. This is the microphone on my headset. I don't know why that happened. Sometimes these little bugs in the system occur. I'm really sorry. Yeah, sometimes the software just goes, oh no, that piece of hardware is not going to work anymore. I'll quickly flip back to the other microphone because it's just a bit better quality. Let's just see what happens. I don't know why it does it. It sometimes just does. Very rarely. Let's see what happens. Here we go. And we're back to the headset. Yep, okay, cool. I don't know why that happened. It just does. Slap your tech priest. Absolutely, I will do. Yeah, sorry. It's because I was talking about Dad Simulator or whatever. Yeah, that awful thing. Someone in the live chat bought it for me. Not mentioning any names, Steve Jenkins. Terrible, terrible game. So hopefully you can all hear me now. Still, yes? Tell me. You can hear me now, right? Yep, cool, brilliant. The stream is cutting you off. Yeah, so I use Streamlabs as my broadcasting software, and I think it's a little buggy sometimes. I have thought about switching over to OBS. but I just haven't got around to it. It's a bit faffy. When everything is all set up here, it's just a bit easy to rely on one thing, isn't it? So, yeah. Anyway, look, we are at the end of the stream. I can see that Christinus is wanting to disappear. So, Christinus, if you are going now, thanks so much for coming along. I'm sorry about the quality of the stream. I can move this microphone away now. I'm aware of that. So, yeah, let's come away from here. We almost made it to the end of the stream without any technical issues. I can only apologise. Yeah, like I say, sometimes it just happens. I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope you guys are having a good time painting. I hope you're getting stuff done. I hope you're being productive. I feel like I've got a little ways to go to make this look really nice. I don't know. I think like what some of you guys are saying, like the edge highlighting for some of these colours might be the way to go. I don't want to do that. We'll see what happens. Cool. I'm going to stick around for a little while longer, finish off this leg here perhaps, and then play some video games, and it will not be Dad Simulator 2. I just absolutely refuse to have anything to do with that game. If you have been working on something this evening, you can still carry on the conversation, take photos of it, put it up on Facebook, put it up on Discord if you want to put it up over there. Put it on both, why not? Photos or it never happened. I'd love to see what you're working on. I love seeing your progress. I'm genuinely inspired and motivated by the stuff that you do. I'm inspired and motivated by the fact you come along and do it with me. That's even cooler. So thank you very much for being a part of the stream. It's lovely. We're not just here on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Discord, Easy 8 After Party. You can join us, all of them. Links in the description below. So go and check out down there for me, please. If you haven't done so already, please hit the thumbs up button because it just helps spread word of Easy 8. And of course, subscribe. So if you haven't done that already, maybe you're new, maybe you just are lazy, maybe you're being a bit of a rebel, push that subscribe button, hit the little bell icon beside it so it lets you know whenever I go live or whenever I do a sneaky little video. You're welcome, table. Thank you for the stream. No worries. No worries at all. It wouldn't be Easy 8 without a technical glitch. It happens, man. It's a club. It's a live stream. It's warts and all, and that's it. It happens in the painting too, right? It's the whole point. Like, things are gonna go wrong. I don't mind as long as I can recover from them. As long as you guys are having a good time. So yeah, I will not be here next Friday because I'm going away for a long weekend with my partner to Watford, the sunny, lovely London delight that it is. What's in Watford, you say? Nothing, apart from the Warner Brothers Studios and the Harry Potter world. We're going to go because my partner's really into Harry Potter, and I watched the films with her. I quite liked it, and she was given tickets by her sister for a birthday present or Christmas present last year, so we're going. So, next week's show will be on Thursday, so bear that in mind. I'm going to do a show on Thursday. You guys might not be able to make it along. I'm really sorry about that, but I want to have a presence next week anyway. So it will be 7 to 9 next Thursday, and if you miss it, you can always watch it back on the replay if you're looking for a little bit of company. But otherwise, I'm going to go and have a nice weekend away with my partner. And then we'll be back from the week after that. Hopefully, I'll be working by that point. Hopefully, there'll be no interruptions to the regular show. Where I'll be working isn't in season yet, so it's still going to be hopefully like a 9 till 5, 8 till 5 sort of a scenario, Monday to Friday. So I'll still be able to have those Friday evenings. And I did say, as a part of me interviewing for that job, like I do a YouTube show and I do it on Fridays, and I'd like to be able to do that. And they were like, yeah, cool. But I think that is a conversation that could have been like lost over the months or whatever. So I'm going to try and bring that back up again. Hopefully there'll be no interruptions, and yeah, we can carry on with our little show on a Friday. That'd be sick. On the 24th, I have penciled at the moment because of the issue I was just saying, like I'm starting a new job and I'm hoping it's all going to go well, is our 200th episode. We are episode 198 right now. It feels, in some ways when I look at it, it feels like it was yesterday I started Easy 8, and in other ways I look at it, it feels like it was a million years ago. But we're well into our 4th year now, and that's a crazy thing considering Easy 8 was just something for COVID. It's been a wild ride, man. But the 200th episode on the 24th of January, keep that penciled on your calendars for now, because I've got a nice little surprise for you that you might just like, in celebration, commemoration, in tribute to toast the 200th episode. So come along and be a part of that as well. That will be on the 24th of January. Anyway, that's enough for me this week. I hope you've had a good week. Please take photographs of your stuff. I really want to see it. I'm going to go and say hello to my partner quickly. change my shirt because I'm Christmas fat and it doesn't fit me anymore. And I'll be back in about 10 minutes to carry on painting and play some video games with you guys over on Discord. Until next week, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, get some colour on your grey, and I'll see you next Thursday. Take care now. Bye bye. Oh, I love it when the music times out with my transitions. I do like toast. Maybe, Steve, you can make some metal toast. Get a metal bender.